No more anime in Texas? An update on the Matthew Perry Scumbags video, and they're still abusing Stan Lee in the afterlife. New video every week, and tons in the back catalog when you support The Habit at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. Hey, want to hear some jokes? Well, that'd be a refreshing change on this channel. I know. But hey, did you hear the one about the Saudi journalist who was doing a story on government corruption? Well, I guess he found something upsetting because everyone keeps saying he went to pieces over it. Hey, but what if Yakov Smirnov was Middle Eastern? In America, journalist does hatchet job on government. In Saudi Arabia, government does hatchet job on journalists. No, but have you heard the funniest joke in Saudi Arabia? Women's rights. You won't hear any of these at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, which has been going on for the last week and wraps up a few days after I post this video. The weekend I'm uploading it sees co-headliners Jimmy Carr and Louis C.K. take the stage for what I'm sure will be a nice evening of comedy that only makes politically incorrect jokes about the right politics. So, let's get the boring stuff out of the way. A few years back, the Saudi government, by which I mean their king, decided, almost all our money comes from oil and we have nothing else. We should probably have something else. Also, the entire world thinks we're scary and doesn't want to come here, which is hurting tourism to say the least. And decreed Saudi Vision 2030. A program to basically bring their country into the 21st century by 2030. Well, more like the 20th century, but hey, gotta start somewhere. They're allowing women to get jobs, drive, travel, and take phys ed in school if they want. They couldn't do these things before 2018. 2018! What a country! And of course, the more important thing for them, they are shipping in as much fucking entertainment as possible to drive tourism and to give the masses the circuses part of the bread and circuses. Because Saudi Arabia's population has more than doubled in the last 25 years, and these people need something to do to distract them from the other stuff. Boxing, pro wrestling, concerts. The entire country hadn't had a public concert since 1992. And you know who the first person to perform there was in 2017? Toby Keith. In a country where they don't allow alcohol, I wonder if he sang Red Solo Cup, Beer for My Horses, and I Love This Bar. Movie theaters had been banned since the 80s. They finally reopened them just in time for Black Panther, a movie about a rich, isolated nation led by a king. I guess irony is legal in Saudi Arabia. But they do censor movies. Nudity isn't allowed, of course. Definitely none of that LGBTQWERTY bullshit. I've said before, one man's dystopia is another man's utopia. Some people on Twitter are like, well, how much does it cost to move there? But before you do that, note that you need to get a license to be a blogger or media personality, and they did sentence a guy to death over his tweets. Turki Al-Jasser was tortured for 7 years and then beheaded this year, 2025, the year you're living in. The Saudi government cut a man's head off over tweets. When I hear a story like that, you know what I think? Oh, I bet the stand-up comedy scene there is fucking great. In North America, where people say dumb shit like, we're living in a totalitarian dictatorship, because they got suspended from Facebook for saying horse dewormer is a miracle cure, stand-up is sometimes seen as the last space for free speech, where Netflix will pay you $20 million to make fun of those they-thams. So, I don't really know why Saudi Arabia, who is very much not for free speech, would want to host a stand-up comedy festival, but host one they did. I already mentioned Jimmy and Louie, but some of the other comedians who participated included Jim Jeffries, Russell Peters, Jeff Ross, Bobby Lee, Wayne Brady, Kevin Hart, Fluffy, Pete Davidson, Aziz Ansari, and Bill Burr. You can't sell out to the Saudi government no more. Oh wait, you can. Of the over 30 comedians scheduled, there appears to be 3 women. Though to be fair, they did try to get more. They just turned the Saudis down. So, you're probably not familiar with Atsuko Okatsuka. She blew up in 2019 while performing comedy during an earthquake and just continued on with her set. And then in 2020, when she was releasing viral videos with her grandma. She's had a special on HBO and another on Hulu. She's pretty successful. So, the Saudis invited her to perform, and she said, no thank you. While the festival was going on, she posted her offer on Twitter, leaving out the fee, but that's kind of a long black line, no? Saying she'd be expected to perform for about an hour, pretty standard, that they'd pay for hotels, but that she'd be responsible for her own flight arrangements and would be expected to promote it. See, iDubbbz? You can ask the people you're paying to promote your event. But more importantly, she posts the content restrictions she was sent over. Artist shall not prepare or perform any material that may be considered to degrade, defame, or bring into public disrepute, contempt, scandal, embarrassment, or ridicule A. the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, including its leadership, public figures, culture, or people, B. the Saudi royal family, legal system, or government, and C. any religion, religious tradition, religious figure, or religious practice. She then mocks some of her own peers, saying, a lot of the you can't say anything anymore comedians are doing the festival. Crying laughing emoji. They had to adhere to the censorship rules to do it. And she's fucking so right. Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, Russell Peters have all bitched about not being allowed to say what they want to say. I saw Jimmy Carr last year live. Love the guy, but he's started every fucking show for the last 5 years with this whole thing about some of the jokes I'm going to tell you I won't be able to do in 5 years from now. Hell, some of them I can't tell now. And talks about encounters with people who got upset at his jokes that I think he made up. Jimmy Carr isn't hanging out to talk to anyone after the show, that posh wanker. But they all happily took the money to do a show where they were literally told there are things you can't joke about. Guess that's fine though. None of the restrictions mention chicks with dicks. Dave Chappelle doesn't have any turban jokes, so what's he care, right? But you can't truly say you give a fuck about free speech when you're agreeing to do this shit. Someone questioned Otsko for redacting the fee. What the fuck difference does it make? What if it was $10? What if it was $1 million? What's the correct number to sell out for? For Tim Dillon, that number was going to be $375,000, claiming some comedians were getting more, some were getting less. But he defended his decision to go do the festival, saying things like, get over it, we're taking the money. They bought comedy, so what if they have slaves? I believe in my own financial well-being, and they're paying me enough money to look the other way. Hilariously, the Saudis saw that rant and canceled his appearance because they didn't like that he said they have slaves. He got himself removed from the show while saying that he doesn't care that they have limited free speech. I guess they do love irony in Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, you know who else didn't take the money? Shane Gillis. He says they offered him a, quote, significant bag, and on his podcast, he said he turned it down because I took a principled stand. You don't 9/11 your friends, referring to the alleged ties between Saudi Arabia and America's largest unscheduled remodeling project. I've told you so many times now how much I fucking respect Shane for not going down the right-wing grifter pipeline after being fired from SNL, where he would have had it made. He'd have been doing his Trump impression every week. Heavily featured performer. Loses that opportunity because of jokes he made on his podcast months or maybe years before. He could have Rob Schneidered himself into a career of doing gigs in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, going, Jesus, AOC's a stupid bitch, right? Great tits, though, for 900 clapping seals, but he didn't. He focused on the podcast, has the most paid members on Patreon, and it's not even close, gets a show on Netflix, and doesn't gargle anyone's balls to do it. And then turns down hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe $1 million, to perform in Saudi Arabia. What a fucking stud. As for the rest of these pricks, none of them need the money. Jimmy Carr hosts like 6 fucking TV shows. Dave Chappelle is a multi-millionaire thanks to Netflix. Bill Burr's got fucking Disney money now. Pete Davidson was in 15 movies in the last 5 years. By the way, his dad, a firefighter, died on 9/11. Nice of him to go be a court jester for his dad's alleged killers, huh? Aziz Ansari probably gets more in royalty checks every month for Parks and Rec than you make in a year. to then step on stage and pretend you're the last Japanese soldiers on an island fighting the war for free speech in a country where they hacked a man to pieces for saying something negative about the country? That's a funnier joke than anything that'll get told at that fucking festival. Hey, what'd the forensics team find on the knife that killed journalist Jamal Khashoggi? Saudi prince. Prince. Get it? You definitely can't make jokes about the murder of dissidents no more.